Hi everyone, well welcome to Lynford Hall in Norfolk. This house is on the market with me at £4 million. It's about 40,000 square foot. It was built in 1858 and in the 30s it was ravaged by fire and completely decimated. And actually I'm going to show you a part of the house that has remained untouched for about 100 years, so stick around for that one. Let's go and have a look around. So welcome to Lynford Hall. This place has got so much history. It was built in 1858 by a Mr. and Mrs. Lynn Stevens. Unfortunately, he passed away before it was finished. It's hosted filming for Allo Allo, one of my childhood memories of watching a great comedy. It's had ambassadors, it's had the Kennedys here. It's got so much history, and as I say, I am going to show you part of the house that was completely decimated by fire, never rebuilt, but part of the kitchens for the servants that exist, so I'll show you that shortly. But I will have a good tour around here. As I say, it does take me about an hour and a half to show a buyer around, so I will try and truncate that slightly. Let's have a look around. As I said earlier, Lynford Hall has gone through lots of incarnations of how it's been used. It was a residential home first, it's been owned by the Forestry Commission, it was an agricultural college, that's when the fire happened, and then more recently it's been the Grace and Favour and a hotel. So this is the bar. You come straight through that lovely entrance hall into the bar. This also links to a commercial kitchen that's between here, the wedding venue, which I'll show you next, and the dining rooms. Now there was the Organic Group also owned it in the 90s, and they had a huge planning permission granted, which is still in effect, which from this they built the wedding venue. Included in that was planning permission to go back into the top story, a huge extension where the servants' wing was, and it burnt down. So it would take this from 40,000 square foot up to 100,000 square foot, which I'm told would be larger than Buckingham Palace, or certainly the facade anyway. We'll go and have a look at the wedding venue. This can be used for weddings, conferences, say 350 people seated. You've got beautiful rooms, views that go out to the garden. Got a dance floor, of course, that's very important. And then it has got a separate entrance here. So if you want to do weddings separate to the hotel, your wedding guests can come in here, and they also have their own bar behind Max. So yeah, lots and lots of space. If someone perhaps wanted to make this their primary residence, there have been people suggest that maybe this is leisure suite, so pool and sauna, etc. But yeah, you do get some amazing views of the garden. It's sat in 20 acres, and at the end of the garden is a beautiful lake, which for the first time ever is a little bit dried out. So you can see through here, actually this is quite a nice place to stand, because this shows the entire length and breadth of Lynford Hall really. So you have dining room down that end and another function room that was a sitting room. Both of those are registered for ceremonies for weddings. Go and have a look down there. So there's a bit of an ante-room here, and on my left is a full commercial kitchen, and actually that's quite clever because you can have deliveries come straight from the basement, which is actually not the basement, that end of the house, and they will come straight in here and up and no one will see you. So that's a very clever design. Yeah, this is the room that was used really for entertaining. It was for breakfast. Some of the weddings actually happened in here because of course 350 people is quite a lot. So most weddings, 100, 150 would be in here. You'd have your wedding breakfast and possibly ceremony next door. But yes, it's pretty amazing, the ceiling height. And of course, that is your entrance hall. So really all we've done is a loop around the entrance hall. One of my favourite bits, and what I remember the first time I came here, is this lovely view. You come through that door and then straight out to the garden, which is pretty magnificent. That's the dining room, and it seamlessly comes into another sitting room. I suppose this would have been a sitting room before. This was used most of the time for ceremonies, and you can see, which is one of these things I love about these houses, is all of the heel marks for all of the brides looking this way as they were kind of greeting their groom. You can slightly see, and we will come back to this, but this is where you can slightly see a bit of the wing. That was the fire, as I say, that was burnt down in the 30s, and it was the servants' wing, I think electrical fire, which a lot of the time these country houses. Now, I know it does seem a bit like I vanish from one room and appear in the next. I know I'm doing that, but as you can see, this is quite a large house. As I say, I'm pretty sure you don't have an hour and a half to watch this tour. This is one of the other sitting rooms. There is another sneaky room in here, actually. It's like a little cocktail bar. Perfect, one of the bay windows. I've also spent quite a lot of time here, and I've noticed that this is one of the only rooms with the old stone mullion windows and wooden sashes. So I think this is probably the most untouched room. There's even some bits of charring. I don't know if you can see on there. So as you can see downstairs, that completes the tour of the main reception rooms. There are loos and things like that I'm sure you could live without seeing. But as I say, there's a lovely suite of reception rooms. You've got entrance hall, bar, you've got the wedding venue, dining room, sitting room slash place to get married, and then this lovely room as well. So you know, it's a big place, but it's pretty simple to view. Well, certainly for me, maybe not the first time. So in this part of the house, there are 10 ensuite bedrooms, which might be kind of 11, but one of them is a room for the owner or housekeeper. And then there are 29 rooms out in the courtyard, so they're a bit more modern. These are the more stately ones. I've spent quite a lot of time, as you can tell, looking at the plans for this room. I think at some point it might have been the staircase up to the top floor, which has never been rebuilt, actually. It was all staff bedrooms, and you can see on the back of the house, the dormer windows, very cleverly, are still there, but there's nothing behind them. And then after that, there was two walls here and here, and this was a bit of a conference centre with some natural light, but everything else is the same. There's some really great views, both out of the front, so it feels very much like a French chateau with this kind of Jacobean finish. It's quite unusual for Norfolk. So at the back of the house, we have a suite of five bedrooms, five ensuite bedrooms. Of course, they are the most impressive probably because they overlook the gardens. The sun's coming out a little bit there. Might even have some blue sky max. And yes, all of the separate owners and some of the notable guests are on the suites. This one's the Kennedy suite because of the US ambassador when he was here. The Kennedys visited quite a bit, so they like Lynford Hall, so clearly got very good taste. So I thought I'd show you another one of the bedrooms, and this one overlooks the front of the house, so you get what actually wasn't the drive. The drive, if I get time, I'll show you in the old brochure that I've got downstairs. The drive actually came to the back of the house, so it's actually kind of been flipped. So you get some beautiful views down into Thetford Forest, and then you can see what this kind of almost this French chateau landscape when you wake up. So it's a beautiful room, as I say. Okay, I've made a promise to myself that I'm going to start showing the bits of the house that don't make right move and they don't make all of the jazzy videos. But because I'm out of breath, I've just had to walk up. I think this is probably one of the most special staircases. It goes up 2 more floors. That goes all the way down to the basement. And I would imagine this is one of the original parts because I don't think it got hit by the fire. And there's a rather interesting bit. It's a bit like Harry Potter. You have to disappear into the first floor. Now gone a bit quiet. I'm guessing that was for building regs. And then you go all the way down to the basement. And now I'm going to show you the basement. So hopefully you can see that the cellars are absolutely colossal. I would imagine there are a lot of staff down here. You've got the old flagstone floors. Behind me is a tea room. You've got lovely wine bins with all the herringbone floors. There's another cellar there, but in the organic group planning application, this part was going to be a nightclub. Now I have kind of very romantic ideas that this may be a tasting room, somewhere to eat kind of meat and cheese, and you can see this lovely herringbone floor. Lots and lots of work has been done here for repointing, and it's very, very dry. And I have to say, I have this kind of romantic idea that this would be a wine cellar and tasting room. It's the reason I love these old buildings, really, kind of really into the basement and the workings of the building. So we're coming out of the basement, which is strange because of course now we're on the ground floor, and the ground floor level on that side of the hotel is those bedrooms, so they're ground floor. So it's very, very different, and I guess the staff would have been out here so that the owners of the house couldn't see them, which was part of what they did in that day. This part on my left here is the servants' quarters, which was completely decimated, as I said, and remains that. It doesn't really have a roof, but actually has got planning to rebuild that. But I wanted to show you the bit that I'm very excited about is this kind of amazing staff kitchen, which has been untouched for 100 years. And this really is what I've been so excited to show you. Now, yes, I'm an estate agent. This bit isn't on Rightmove, but it's the bit that excites me. This hasn't been touched for 100 years. I'm one of the only people who have stood in here in a very, very long time. It's little details that really excite me too. So first of all, you've got the space. I mean, actually it's quite nice as the sun's coming out. It's the volume. I could see this actually being somewhere again for dinner at a hotel or restaurant. You can see some of the old tiles on the wall, which is that kind of what you would have in maybe like a kitchen or a butcher's. This up here, I've been told by some of the people that I've shown around that this was to turn the meat that was in the range here. And yes, Mr. and Mrs. Lynn Stevens were so wealthy that they built this kitchen so far away from their house, and apparently with some divots in the corridors so that they wouldn't smell their own food when it was being cooked. I wanted to bring you back outside. There's a lot of details that I noticed that have not been put back since the fire. So you'll see that there's a lead cupola, which we'll probably pan to now, and then on the top right hand side and then the top left there should be two more lead cupolas, but unfortunately they were decimated by the fire, so there's a flat roof there now. Parts that I haven't shown you is that these are 29 ensuite bedrooms, so they are accessible from the house, 2 stories. And then this was René's Cafe for Allo Allo. They actually filmed here for 10 years, between 82 and 92. Very helpful blue plaque up there. So perhaps if you wanted to buy here, you could re-energise René's Cafe in the Courtyard. Lynford Hall is currently set in 20 acres, but as I say, when it was owned by the Forestry Commission, they kept back the 7,000 acres and created the UK's largest man-made lowland forest, get it right. So this was a pleasure ground. We have a lake that actually is a little bit dry now, but has lovely lilies. And then there is an island with, well, it has a listed Japanese garden on it. It's not there anymore, but there is what remains of a kind of old tea house. And then we get to look back at this beautiful building. And as I say, the front drive used to come to this side of the house. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I have got the most amazing place for you to see in Devon, so please subscribe. It would really make a massive difference. And until next time.